Hello everybody, it is Derek. I am back with another video. I've been doing so many of these recap videos for All-Star 7. I missed just like not having to care about looking nice and just sitting here and talking. So I'm excited to do one of these again. It's been a second. This month has been very weird. It's been a wild one. And I'm ready to just like get back to the basics, you know? I have had this video idea for a while. Finally, I get to do it. And we are going to talk about what if UK versus the world had the blocking system that was introduced on All-Stars 7. But first, I would like to thank today's video sponsor, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve right now is running a promotion for 50% off one item plus free shipping if you use my discount code DRAG50. Now, this is for the USA and Canada, some exclusions apply. This is also valid at adammail.com, which is where I'll be going. You guys, I love this company. You can get yourself something nice and know that you're doing something good with your money because 20% of their profits go to fighting the spread of HIV worldwide, which I think is amazing. Check the description below for more information, and thank you so much to Adam and Eve for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you are a spoilerina like I am, you've known about this system for a while, since they filmed All-Star 7. So I was watching UK versus the world, and I mean, I'll be completely honest, that was not my favorite season, or even close to one of my favorite seasons, and I just kept thinking, I think this would be so much better if they just used this system, because it was such a small cast to begin with, and I felt like we were losing people without really getting to like vibe with them. And I really think that a lot of the queens from countries who weren't, you know, the US or the UK ended up getting really sidelined just because they didn't have those relationships that a lot of the US girls and a lot of the UK girls had going in. So I think this would have been a much, much better way to do the season, because it kind of lets everyone be on the same playing field. You don't have to worry about going home. Obviously, you get to block people, and it's all about getting the badges. And I just think it would have been a much more smooth season. I mean, obviously, we would not have had some of the most iconic moments like Jimbo and Pangina's eliminations and things like that. But I think overall it would have been a more satisfying conclusion. So we are going to go, as always, episode by episode, talking about what might have happened. We are going to have a top 2. We're going to have 2 high placements, and we are going to have Lip Sync for Your Legacy, and then the winner of that gets to block whoever they want. So obviously, as we go on, I'm gonna have to make some inferences, some guesswork, because we will have the entire cast here until the very end of the season. So let me know in the comments below, who do you think is going to be in the top 4 before we get to the end where I will reveal it. I want to know your predictions before we go in. But without further ado, here we go. Episode 1, variety show, one of the most, I don't want to say boring, but boring variety shows, because there just was not a ton of variety in said variety show. We got a lot of people lip syncing to their songs, or, you know, singing live for a couple of them. Honestly, the top 2 from this episode was, I think, the real top 2. It was Jimbo and Pangina, and then we have Blue Hydrangea and Bag of Chips as the other 2 high placements. So we have a Jimbo and a Pangina top 2. They are going to lip sync to Say You'll Be There by the Spice Girls. And then the winner is obviously going to be Pangina. So Pangina now gets to block whoever she wants. And her and Jimbo then each get a legendary legend star. They can call it the international legend star if they want. I don't care. But who is Pangina going to block? I think she is going to block Bag of Chips, because she went in very much knowing, I think, that she was at a disadvantage just because she is from, you know, a franchise not very interlinked with the rest of them, right? I mean, I would say that the Canada, the UK, and the US girls pretty much know each other, work together, tour together, whereas like the Thailand girls you don't really get to see on these tours. So Pangina, I think, realized she was in a bad spot. That's why she makes this alliance with Janie Jacquet, was really thinking strategically this entire season because she was kind of forced into that corner. So I think for her, Bag of Chips is someone that has a lot of allies because she's so popular. There's a lot of US girls and a lot of UK girls that know her. And she was already in the top of this first episode. Obviously, the judges love her. So I think Bag of Chips is a great bet to block so that she doesn't get a star the following episode. So she is going to block Bag of Chips. We still will have Lemon for the rest of the season. And we will move on to the RuPaul Ball, where the top two were Janie Jacquet and Jimbo. And in the high placements, I think we would have Mo Hart and Pangina, just like in the actual episode. Mo had some weird critiques where we couldn't tell if she was in the top or she was in the bottom, but I think overall she got mostly positive critiques, especially for her first two looks. The other option to be in this high placement was Blue Hydrangea, but I thought it would be cool to just have someone else in this spot, and since Mo was already up there and got some praise, I thought this just made sense. Lemon, I mean, we know that she didn't do well in the Canada's Drag Race design challenges. So while her first two looks for this challenge, which are right here, were really, really solid, I think she would have been safe, lower end of safe overall. So we have Janie, we have Jimbo lip sync to a very strange remix of RuPaul's Supermodel, and Janie Jacquet demolishes it. So who is she going to block? Well, Jimbo and her both get their legendary legend stars, which means that Jimbo is now in the lead with 2 stars. Janie and Pangina both have 1. And who is Janie gonna block? I think she's going to kind of take a similar approach to Pangina. I think she's gonna block Blue Hydrangea. Blue was in the top the first week, or she was high in the first week, and she had a really good showing this episode despite not being in that top 4. So I think Blue would be a really great bet moving forward. And I don't think that Janie was going to block Pangina, who was the other option here, because it's very clear they were in an alliance the entire time, whether that was known to us or not. So let's move on to the third episode, which is the West End Wendy's RUSICAL. Obviously, they'd have to write a couple more parts for this, but let's look at who was eliminated at this point and how they would have done this challenge. So we have Cheryl and we have Lemon, who were both gone at this point, but since they're still here, how would they have done? I think Cheryl would have done great in this. We didn't really see a RUSICAL on season 1 of UK, but we did see her do really, really well, actually have her best performance of the season in the Girl Groups Challenge, which is, performing and dancing and learning choreography and all of that. And Cheryl really took the reins in that challenge. So I think this would definitely be a moment for Cheryl to shine. And then for Lemon, there wasn't a RUSICAL on Canada's Drag Race either, I don't think. That's not a season I revisit very much, but I don't think that there was. But in the Not Sorry About It Girl Group Challenge, she was one of the best. And obviously she's not writing lyrics or anything here, but she does have a stage presence. She does really take on the spotlight when she needs to. So I think both of them would do a solid job here. But for the purposes of this video, I think the top 2 would still be Pangina and Janie Jacquet. Pangina completely made that Annie role hers. It was weird, it was disturbing, it was funny, and she put her entire Panjussy into that performance. Whereas Janie had kind of a really hard role because she had to impersonate a specific celebrity, which is Meryl Streep. It wasn't necessarily a part as much as she needed to embody Meryl. And she fully did that. They are going to be the top 2. They're each going to get a Legendary Legend Star. No one has been blocked from getting the Legendary Legend Star yet. And I put both Blue Hydrangea and Cheryl Hole in the high placements here. Blue, I think, just had a really, really underrated performance. She kind of took the Mary Berry, like, sexual, like, comedy that she did on UK1 and infused it into her performance here. And I think she did a really, really good job. And Cheryl, I don't know what her part would have been, but I do think this would be a moment for them to be like, Cheryl, you ate, you slayed, you did what you needed to do, and you will be in the top 4. So what is going to happen when we have Janie and Pangina lip sync to the Vengabus song, which is iconic? Obviously, Pangina wins. Who is she going to block? I think that looking at who has stars, it is herself, Janie, and Jimbo who all have 2 Legendary Legend stars. No one else has one yet. And I think she's going to block Jimbo. The only option, basically, of someone with a Legendary Legend star who she can block. So Jimbo, even though she doesn't do well in this episode, is going to be blocked for the next episode, which would suck because it is the Snatch game. What would happen here? Let's just take a quick look at who was eliminated already. Lemon did really, really well in her original Snatch game where she did JoJo Siwa. Cheryl did fine in her Snatch game. And Jimbo, obviously, is Jimbo, so she would have demolished this, and I'm so sad we didn't get to see it. So how would this go? I think we will have a top 2 of Bag of Chips and Jimbo. And not saying that Blue Hydrangea didn't also do an amazing job, because I put her high here along with Lemon, but I just think Jimbo takes it that extra mile and makes it completely ridiculous with her comedy. She did Joan Rivers on Canada's Drag Race 1, and it's one of my favorite of all time because, obviously, I love Joan Rivers, and she was able to match Joan Rivers' comedic beats while also infusing it with this just, like, clownery, crazy Jimbo humor. And I think that Jimbo is someone who's just always going to do well in this type of challenge because she doesn't have those mental barriers that other people put up for this type of challenge where they go in and they're like, I don't know, like this is nerve-wracking, this is whatever. Jimbo just goes for it. And I think she would have really, really, really done an amazing job. And I'm sad we didn't get to see it. So that is going to be our top 2. But since Jimbo was blocked, she's not going to get a Legendary Legend star, which is like a gag, and I'm sure Jimbo would have gone nuts about it on the main stage. So Bag of Chips will get her first, and now they get to lip sync to an Alexandria Burke song that I did not know of before this episode, and I think Baga would win. I think that obviously Blue did a better job in the lip sync when she did it against Baga, but I think Baga did a good job, and I think that she would do better than Jimbo. It's just not Jimbo's thing. We all know this. So Baga is going to win the lip sync. Who is she going to block? I think she's blocking Pangina 1000%. She's obviously really good friends with Jimbo, and Jimbo just got blocked from getting a star by Pangina. And Pangina has been killing it basically this entire time. This Snatch Game episode was her first kind of stumble, so I think blocking Pangina is the best move for Bag of Chips here, and I think that is what she would do. So we move on to the Rumix episode where they do, I already forgot what the song was. I don't remember what song they do, but it was some kind of like international superstars bop. I think this is Lemon's moment to shine. This is where Lemon can just like be in her element. I mean, if you haven't seen her go viral on TikTok, which then I found out didn't go viral, it just went gay viral with her song with Priyanka. She knows how to rap. She knows how to eat up a verse, and she's one of the best dancers on this cast. So for me, this is Lemon's moment. And I think Mo also had a really good performance, the best performance of who was actually in this episode. But I did put both Cheryl and Jujubee in the high placement. Again, this is just right up Cheryl's alley, and she has not gotten a star at this point, but she at least gets some notoriety for being like one of the judges' favorites for the episode. And then Jujubee, this is the first time that she really came into her own. She did a really, really good job with her verse, and she has one of the best vocal abilities of anybody from the franchise. So she really just got to put that on full display, and she gets her first top 4 placement of the season. So we have Mo versus Lemon. lip syncing to Toy by Netta. And I think that Lemon would win. Mo did not give her all into this lip sync, I don't think. And this is the kind of song that Lemon can just like go insane to and do all of her moves and her tricks. And I think it would be stunning. It would be wonderful. It'd be a great performance. And her and Mo both pick up their first legendary legend star. But who is Lemon going to block? I picture Lemon being that kind of strategic, I don't want to say player, this isn't Survivor, but she kind of is. In this format of Drag Race, you have to think about who doesn't need to get another star, who do you not want to get another star, how can you then be put in the best position moving forward. And the best position for Lemon is to block someone who also only has one star, because if she can get a second, that means that she is then preventing someone else from surpassing her moving forward. So I think she's blocking Bag of Chips. Bag is the only other queen besides Mo who has a star and not two. There's not much she can do about the queens who already have two, but she can prevent someone who has one from taking that last spot, right? There's 3 in the lead. There's only 4 spots in the finale. She needs to do what she can to take that 4th, and that is by blocking someone who is where she's at with only 1 star. So obviously, next episode on the real season would have been the finale, but I needed to add another episode here because there's only 3 queens who have 2 stars. And it's not like the 3 with 1 can just duke it out. So I added a roast challenge, which I always love to see on an All-Stars. Whether it's stand-up, whether it's a roast, what have you. I think this would be great. And I think this is the cast to do it with. So how would this go? I think we have Bag of Chips, who is just so ridiculous, so funny. And I think that she would definitely have a top spot here. And I also think Lemon would. I mean, I always think about her read to Priyanka on Canada's Drag Race when she says, the only thing you're fucking is stupid. I mean, that is so iconic. And Lemon, if it's a roast or whatever it is, she has that conviction where she's just like, she knows she's that bitch. She can read a bitch down. And because she's having so much fun with it, you love it. You are obsessed with it. I also put Blue Hydrangea and Jimbo as the other 2 top placements. We've seen Jujubee and Mo do a roast. They were fine. I'm not sure how Janie would do, and I'm not sure how Cheryl would do, but I think that Blue and Jimbo both are pretty safe bets to put in the top. I think they would both do very, very well. But we're going to have a lip sync of some random international song between Baga and Lemon. Lemon is going to win it. And because she blocked Baga the last episode, Lemon just now secured her spot in the finale. We have 4 girls who have 2 stars. That's Janie, Jimbo, Lemon, and Pangina. Mo and Baga both only have 1. And unfortunately, despite having a lot of high placements, Blue didn't have 1. And Cheryl and Jujubee had none as well. So we move on to the finale, where we have our lip sync smackdown between our top 4. And I'm going to just go through a couple of scenarios because we don't know who would be lip syncing against who. So let's say that in the first round, we have Janie and Jimbo versus Pangina and Lemon. So Janie versus Jimbo to Domino. Sorry, Jimbo. Janie's moving on. And we have Pangina versus Lemon to The Reflex. Now, if this was a lot of other different songs, I think that Lemon could win it. But because it's The Reflex, it's this fun, like, highly energized song from the 80s, I think Pangina could really make that a fun, dynamic performance. Whereas Lemon, I think she's really, really solid with the kind of lip sync that she can do super well, but like we saw on Canada's Drag Race, she wasn't able to really shift that into other genres of music like she did to Alanis Morissette's You Ought to Know. She kind of just did her thing, without kind of adapting it to the genre that she was tackling. So I kind of feel like that would happen here again to the Reflex. I mean, she can do all of her flips and splits and things, but I think that Pangina can also do that and really adds a layer of comedy and camp to her performances that I think this song would really, really complement. So we're going to have Janie versus Pangina lip syncing to the fifth best song on Kylie Minogue's album Disco, Supernova. And who would win that? I think it would be Pangina. Obviously they're both great lip syncers, but we've already seen Pangina beat Janie in a lip sync. And I think to the producers, Pangina is someone more apt to take a crown. You know, she was a judge and now she is a contestant, but we've already seen her lead a franchise and been able to really hold a franchise on her shoulders, whereas Janie kind of just doesn't have as much clout. You know what I mean? So I think Pangina is someone that they would have loved to crown if they could, and I think that she would also be deserving of it. So I think in this scenario, Pangina would win. Let's look at another mashup. We have Lemon versus Jimbo to Domino. We have Pangina versus Janie to The Reflex. Sorry, Jimbo. Lemon's moving on. And again, we've seen Pangina beat Janie in a lip sync, and especially to win this camp, Pangina is moving on. Then we have Lemon versus Pangina to Supernova. And this is going to be interesting because this song is right up Lemon's alley. I mean, it's like a disco pop song that she can just dance her ass to. And I think this is less to Pangina's advantage because there's not much she can do to camp it up. So what would happen? I am leaning towards Lemon winning because not only does she have, I would say, the same amount of clout as Pangina does, where she's one of the biggest fan favorites to come out of Canada's franchise, but I think she also would just maybe have a slight edge in this lip sync. So I think in this scenario, Lemon would win, but it would be probably by a very small margin. Also, you have to look at the competition as a whole because that's always going to be taken into effect in these finales. We have Pangina, who really, really did well the first half of the competition, didn't do as well the second half, and we have the opposite from Lemon, where she dominated the second half and not so much the first half. But the second half is always what's going to be fresh in the audience mind. We have our last scenario. It is Pangina versus Jimbo to Domino, and it is Lemon versus Janie to The Reflex. And we're going to end up with the same thing here. I think we have Lemon versus Pangina in the final round, and I think that Lemon probably wins here. So in 2 out of 3 scenarios, I think Lemon is the winner of UK versus the World. And in one scenario where Pangina gets to axe Lemon in the first round, we have Pangina winning. There's also the question of what if the songs were flipped? What if we have Lemon versus Pangina to Domino instead of The Reflex? I think there that Lemon beats her just because Domino is way more up her alley. So really, I think both of these queens are complete legends, and especially in this format of a finale where they're two very, very fierce lip syncers, it all just comes down to song choice because they were pretty evenly matched throughout the season where they both had weeks in the top and weeks in the bottom. So really, I think either scenario where we have Pangina with a crown or Lemon with a crown is equally as likely. And again, this is all made up from my little noggin. None of it matters. So I want to know, what do you think? Do you think that in this format, Lemon and Pangina would really be able to thrive? Or do you think that I overshot it and they both would have not made the finale just like they didn't in the actual season? I genuinely think this would have been a better format to choose for this series because sending each other home when it's not like they know each other or work together in a lot of scenarios, especially for the international queens like Janie and Pangina. It just doesn't set it up to be like an even playing field for the queens. So I would hope that since this format has been, I would say, generally liked by the fandom for All-Star 7, that maybe if they do another international season, they would pick it up. And for all you spoilerinas, yes, I know what's going on. And no, don't say it in the comments. So thank you guys so much for watching. I wanted to quickly update you. I am doing a complete overhaul of my Patreon. I've been in such a creative slump. I'm wondering if it was the weather, and now that it's summer, I'm just seeing the light again. But I have such a creative boom in my head. I have so many good ideas, video ideas to bring to this channel, so many fun things I want to bring to the Patreon. So if you haven't, I would say now is a really good time to check out the Patreon. I am completely updating the tiers and the benefits, and I'm really just excited to bring the most to everything I do this summer. I'm so excited. If you haven't, go check out my recap series I'm doing with one of my favorite queens, Bootsy. We are recapping All-Star 7 with some special guests, so be on the lookout for those videos. And be on the lookout for some more fun stuff here, as well as my Instagram. If you aren't following me on Instagram, I like to do photo series on there. I dabble with the graphic design, if you know what I mean. Weaponizing my BFA as much as I possibly can. And yeah, that's kind of all the updates I have. The links to all my social medias are here and in my description below. Again, check out Adam and Eve for 50% off one item plus free shipping. You do not want to miss out on this. Use code DRAG50, and thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. Yet again, Adam and Eve. My already there beautiful patrons, and I'm so excited to have some more of you join us. We have a Discord server, and we love to discuss the current happenings of the Drag Race fandom there. So I can't wait to talk to you guys there. And yeah, that's all I got for today. It has been a very long day solving the mystery of where the fuck has my brain been? What was the one thing missing from UK versus the world? And it's a couple of things, actually. It's another Jimbo Snatch game. It's another Lemon Rumix verse. And it's seeing Lemon stunt on every single one of those lip syncs in the finale. So, sorry, this version's better. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I always do that. So, alright, I will catch you guys in the next one.